Namaste. Today in Swatantra Bharat 75 series, The Genius of India as the Key to the Crisis of Humanity, we have got a very renowned speaker, Raghuram ji, with us. Welcome, Raghuram ji. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Okay.
uh, I will request him to start his session.
Namaste, everyone. It's my pleasure to share my ideas on this particular platform, Genius of India. In fact, I always feel that the treasure of Indian thinking, Indian philosophy application is for such a long time that, in spite of the fact that several attempts are made to destroy that, we still continue to have such a beautiful kind of knowledge still available, and that's the beauty of it. Therefore, several knowledges that are there, out of which one of the most important thing is the knowledge of yoga. So I thought today I will just spare some time on sharing this idea of what is called as the tradition of yoga and Indian science of spirituality. Often people think that yoga is some just doing some practice, something like that, but they don't understand the scientific background behind it. In fact, just to give you the background of it, when Patanjali has written the sutras for the yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, one of the American authors, while commenting about that, he said the Patanjali's work is more scientific than the science itself. So that means to say logical and unambiguous kind of thinking that is there behind this particular yoga. Several aspects of yoga are there, but basically yoga is the only technique anywhere in the world which can take us towards this journey of spirituality. Now, even that idea of spirituality is also been misunderstood, misrepresented. I would like to give a clarity between the path of yoga and what is that we are supposed to be doing in the practice of yoga, and also in the journey towards the spirituality. Now, today in the market, when you go, there are thousands of different varieties of practice of yoga. Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, this yoga, that yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, Vinyasa Yoga. Like that, we have hundreds of names that are there. But what Patanjali has given us, the path that we are talking about, is something which is the basis for all these different parts of yoga. There's the background behind all these practice of yoga. That I'm going to share with you these ideas of what is called as Indian science of spirituality and what is called as the tradition of yoga. In fact, when I say tradition of yoga, it means basically this whole idea of yoga has come right from the beginning of the creation itself, or as a part of this particular journey that we are making. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, one of the important texts of yoga, Arjuna asked Krishna that when did you learn all these things? How did you come to know about it? Krishna replies to Arjuna, it's not that I have learned, but I taught even before the creation itself. Imambam vivasvate prahuhu manuvikshvakave bhavid. That means to say, not that Krishna was living at that time as person, but very important thing is that this tradition has come right from the beginning of the universe. And Patanjali has given us the sutras of it. But it is something like that. Geometry has always been there in the universe. Always geometry has been there. Only Euclid came and he wrote the formulae for geometry. He did not create geometry. Euclid did not create geometry. Like that, yoga is not Patanjali created or anybody created. It's a part of this creation itself that yoga has started. And Patanjali only gave us the idea of how it has to be understood, the formulae behind it. That's why it is something like an extraordinary, wonderful science, like the way geometry is the science. But then what happens is geometry is about the world outside, whereas yoga is absolutely an internal journey, an internal understanding about what is this. And in this internal understanding, when we look at it, the highest that we achieve is the spiritual goal. That's what is the part of this particular Sanatana Dharma. So let's try to look into that, how we can understand that. Now, in order to understand yoga, I can go by the definition of yoga, etc., etc. But more than that, I would like to go by trying to understand what about human being? See, yoga is for us, and this human being understanding is something which is very important. And through that, I would like to bring about the idea of what is yoga. Is understand that yoga is something which can be dealt with by giving definition. This is what is yoga, etc. But rather than that, I would like to focus on who is this human being we are talking about, and that applies to all of us, north or east, north or south, east or west, for everybody, young or old, healthy or sick, for everybody. This particular idea of what is human being, why we have to consider this human being, because of all the different species that are there, human being is one thing who is very complex personality, ranging from gross physical level, the body, all the way up to the consciousness, which is supposed to be our spirit. So we are this beautiful spectrum, and a beautiful way that our scriptures looked at this human being spectrum, divide them into various stages to see that how we can apply at various personality level. So therefore, the question takes me to that idea that how to understand about this yoga. So let me get into that. And first of all, it is the Indian science of spirituality and the tradition called as yogic sciences. Now, human being is considered at five different personality level. This is what is eloquently discussed in Taittiriya Upanishad and many other Upanishads. But rather than what is the statement that we make, I would like to look into the way that how the student unravels himself into finding out what is his nature. The student is supposed to be Bhrigu, and then he goes to his father, who is a teacher, says, "Who am I?" That means, what is this human being is all about? The teacher says, "Find out for yourself and tell me." Tapasa Brahma Vijñāsasva. Now, I'm asking about what human being. You say, is that look into yourself? Because you are the human being. You look into yourself, and that's what is your experience. So you can come out with your own experience to see that what you are. Tell me who you are by your own experience. This finding out journey inwards is what is called as tapas, or that is only science where it's an inward investigation that yoga we call about. And then here, so let's proceed in a simple way. As an ordinary simple student goes to the teacher and asks, "Who am I?" The teacher says that find out for yourself. In no time, the student comes back to the teacher and says that I'm this physical body. I'm this body which is made out of hands and legs and eyes and ears and all those things. And this is supposed to be made out of food. Therefore, it is annamaya kosha. Anna means food. So you take food, and food builds this body. So therefore, that you are this body. The first one, the outer one, and that's what is the one which he says that I am the Annamaya Kosha, physical personality. Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Annadhyeva Kalivani Bhutani Jayante, etc. But the teacher says, find out further. That means to say that this physical body is not at all, not everything, but you are somebody behind this physical body. You use this body. This body is like an instrument in your hand. That's why we say it is my hand, my legs. I have seen with my own eyes, we say often. That means to say, I'm not the eyes, but I am one behind the eyes using this eyes. I am the owner of that. That's why it is very beautifully said. Sharira is supposed to be the instrument, and Shariri is one who uses this Sharira. So, therefore, the teacher says, find out who you are behind this physical body. It doesn't take much time for the student to find out that I am this life force personality at the prana. It is the prana, it is the life force because of which my hand moves. It is the life force because of which my eyes see. I am talking because of this life force called as the prana, the vital force. It's also known as. So I am this prana and this made out of, because it is there in every part of this body, therefore I am spread everywhere. This prana within this body. So therefore I am this pranamaya kosha, prano brahmeti vyajanat, pranadhyeva kalimani bhutani jayante, pranena jatani jivanti. Like that, the student tells to the comes to the teacher and explains. Teacher student is excited because he found out that he is prana, but the teacher says find out further. That means you are not the physical body, you are not the prana, you are somebody behind this prana. How? Because many times physical body is also there, prana is also there, but behind that physical body and prana, you are not there, then this do not function. Like the way that you are lost in some thought, some idea, and then you are walking at the street and somebody comes in the opposite direction, says good morning to you or good evening to you, whatever it is. And then he is there, he said, but then your mind is somewhere else, physical body is there, prana is also there, but you have not heard. Why did you not hear? You were not there behind it. So who are you? So this question comes. We say that, yeah, I was thinking, I was lost in my thinking. Therefore, I didn't hear you, I didn't see you. That means to say you are somebody behind these two. And very easy conclusion is that I am this mind, manomaya kosha, made out of mind. So I am this mental personality, manomaya kosha. As long as that mind is here, I am here. Mind is not here, I am not here. So therefore, I am the mind, mental personality. While walking, mind is elsewhere. We don't even perceive where we are walking. We are not aware of it. So therefore, that I am the mental personality. In fact, in Sanskrit, man comes from mind. That means to say, we are the mental personality and we are made out of that mind. Therefore, mananamiti manushya, we are the mental personality. But the teacher says, find out further. That means you are not just physical body, you are not just prana, you are not even just a mind, but you are somebody behind it. And what is that behind? It's very not very difficult to find out. Even this also we can find out because our own experience. It's not going anywhere else to find out. No books, no text, no nothing. But your own experience will show that you are not the mind, because if mind goes here and there, are you not behind the mind to tell the mind to be here? Like you are preparing for an exam, you are preparing for something very seriously that you are supposed to be reading a book, and then mind goes here and there. Don't you tell the mind behind, saying that, hey, don't go ahead with, you are supposed to finish this work, you are supposed to write an exam. So therefore, that put the mind here. Mind is something like an instrument in your hand, and you put it on this book that you are reading. Not only we do that, even children. While mother is sitting with the child and doing the homework, it's often mother doing the homework, not the child anyway. But then there is some sound, something like that. The child mind goes behind that sound. Mother immediately tells a child, hey, put your mind here. We are reading this book. That means to say, mind is an instrument in your hand. This is what Adi Shankaracharya, while commenting, he said, like the way a sickle is in the hands of the farmer, mind is something in your hands. And then you use the mind, like the way sickle is used to till the land, mind is used to explore about various things that are there. So therefore, you are not the mind. Mind is a instrument in your hand. You are somebody behind the mind. Mano brahmeti vyajanat manaso keva kalimani bhutani jayante manasa jatani jivanti manaprayanti apisamvishanti iti. When the student says that, teacher says, find out further. It's a little difficult, but not impossible, because a few times that you observe yourself, why you are instructing the mind, you are somebody who is instructing the mind, and what is that you are bringing about that instruction? It is because that you are the intellect. It is the intellect says, it is the time to read this book, therefore put your mind on this book. So it is the intellectual personality is what we are. So with this is what in yogic knowledge it is called as Vijnanamaya Kosha. You are the intellectual personality, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and it is the Vijnana which is responsible for all the activities. And you are very sure of it because basically, look at all this technology development that has taken place. It's all because of the intellect of the human being. So therefore, Vijnanam Brahmeti Vijanat, Vijnanadhyeva Khalibani Bhutani Jayante. And all this technology development has happened because of human being, not other species, but it is the human being. Because human being has This vijnana, this is what is basically Bhartrihari also says. Buddhi tesham adhiko viseshaha. The human being is above the other species because that he has this buddhi or the intellect. It's because of the intellect today man has put man on the moon. It's because of intellect that we are able to control the waters, control the electricity, etc. All these things we developed because of this buddhi. The student is excited. He comes back to the teacher running. He's very happy to say that I am the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanatheva khali imani bhutani jayante. Vijnanena jatani jivante. Vijnanam prayante abhisamshyati. Therefore, I am the intellectual personality and I am this buddhi. Therefore, basically, that I am that buddhi, and the student comes back to the teacher and reports. But the teacher says, find out further. Tapasa Brahma Vijñāsasva. So continue to Satapo Tapyata, student goes to inquire about it. This is a very, very important step. The way that Indian philosophy looked into these things, Sanatana Dharma has looked into it. Nowhere else in the world the intellectuals have inquired into this. In fact, the most wonderful intellectuals, like for example, it is Socrates or Karl Marx or Confucius, they all stopped at the level of intellect. They never went beyond that level of intellect. There is something like human being who is beyond the level of intellect. Not only that, today, when you look at the society, we identify ourselves with intellect. Whatever intellect is trained, that's what we are. If my intellect is trained in medicine, I'm a doctor. People say that I'm a doctor. If my intellect is trained in engineering, people say that I'm an engineer. Particularly in software, I'm a software engineer. That's very common. If your intellect is trained in law, you're a lawyer. So therefore, we are all the intellectual personality. And that's what the teacher says, that the student says that I'm the intellectual personality. But the teacher says, find out further. How can there be anything beyond intellect? Intellect seems to be everything. But that is not so. There is something which is beyond. How can you understand that? Because many times intellect is not functioning, but you are there. Intellect is not there, but you are there. How? Look at the very simple thing that in the sleep, where you have gone to sleep, every other thing is stopped, including the intellect also is stopped. So therefore, that your intellect is not there, but you are still existing. Not only that, you are existing, not only we are existing, but we are blissful, we are happy. So therefore, that there is something which is beyond the level of intellect, and that's what is blissful personality ours. That's what is Anandamaya Kosha. Intellect is not everything, but we are beyond that level of intellect. So therefore, that you are that Anandamaya Kosha, blissful personality, everybody enjoys that sleep. There's nobody who does not enjoy sleep. 6, 7 hours, 8 hours a day, we have to religiously go to sleep so that we are in touch with our own nature. There is no other thing that is there. You are totally with yourself and you are blissful. Anandadhyeva khalu imani bhutani jayante. The student finds out that he is not intellect, but he is just bliss personality. Anandena jatani jivanti anandam prayanti abhisamvishanti. So your blissful status, that's what is your nature. That means to say, nature is blissful within you. But then the student is still adamant. He says that, how can happiness be my nature? Happiness seems to be coming from the object outside. For that, the teacher says that, look into your sleep. Are you not blissful? And in that blissful state, no object is giving you happiness. In fact, no object not only can give you happiness, cannot add happiness to you. You are free from that. Like, for example, you are nicely enjoying sleep, blissful sleep. Somebody plays your own choices music, supposed to be giving you happiness, but then what you say, stop that music, let me enjoy sleep, let me be in the sleep. And not only that, it's a blissful state, but it's also something which rejuvenates you. Esasya paramanandaha, esosya parama samvito. That's what the Upanishad says. That means once you reach that blissful state of yours deep inside, You rejuvenate. Previous night before you going to bed, you see what happened to you. All energy exhausted. You feel really tired. You don't have any energy. And you go to sleep. Next morning you get up. So much of energy that you have, you can go for a 5 mile jog. Where do you get that energy from? Is it not coming from the sleep? And in the sleep, what happened to you? You're identified with the blissful personality of yours. So it is not only a bliss, it's also rejuvenating happiness. It's also a healthy state of yours. These different koshas, 5 different koshas, the moment that the student finds out his nature is bliss, his nature is consciousness, he is happy there. He never came back to the teacher. Saisha Bhargavi Varani Vidya Parame Vyoman Pratishtita. He was blissful. Not only that, all this logic that he has used, it's a very simple logic. It's not based on any imagination, it is our own experience. So that means to say, anybody now who understands this particular logic, this line of thinking, knows that your nature is happiness. Sayayevam Vedaha Pratitishthati. Now, all these 5 different personality levels, they are not watertight compartments. They are degrees of subtleties existing within this. In the same body mind consciousness complex, at the grossest level, we are the body, intermediate, we are the mind, but deep inside, we are the consciousness. We are the blissful personality. And that's what is the Panchakosha, 5 different personality level. But then what happens is that logically it's fine. Logically, I'm convinced that my nature is happiness, I'm blissful state. But then we are not happy. Ask anybody, are you happy? Says, yeah, next month I'm going on a vacation, then I'll be happy. When this problem is solved, then I'll be happy. See, everybody is away from happiness, it looks like. You see, anybody, that's what they say. Why we are away from happiness? Because at every personality level, we are away from our nature. Our nature is supposed to be blissful state, and then we are away from our nature. At every personality level, like example, at the physical personality level, at the body level, our nature was to be relaxed. Look at the children. They are so relaxed. They're always relaxed. Walk relaxed, run relaxed, fall relaxed. Even falling, the child does not have any tension. They're relaxed. We were also like that when we were children. But as we have proceeded further, as we have gone ahead, slowly we have come away from our nature in the form of tension. A child's beauty is that the child is so relaxed, supple, easy. Whereas as we have grown, the tension is the way that we come away from our nature. So tension is the way that we come away from our nature. At the prana level, our nature was to be slow. Look at the children, never in a hurry. They do every activity slowly. And I always come across that the mother shouting at the children, come on, come fast. The child says, yes, I'm coming fast. In the shopping complex, in the mall, no child walks fast. He just takes his own time. Mother 10 times shouts. Finally, the mother lifts the child and brings him. Otherwise, he will not move. Slow. Food. Mother puts a spoonful of food in the mouth of the child. Even after 5 minutes, the mother asks him to open the mouth. The food is still sitting there. Come on, eat fast. We were all slow. Every child is slow. We were also like that. But as we have grown up, speed is the way that we come away from our nature. Look at the present day world. Everywhere speed, speed, speed. Somehow we have a bug in our mind saying that speed is directly proportional to productivity. I don't know why is it like that. Man was equally productive when man was slow. Today we have so much of speed, is the way that we come away from our nature, it entered into us. Similarly, at the mind level, a calm state of mind was our nature. But the way that we have come away from our nature is agitation, worry. Unfortunately, that's how we have come away from that. Necessary, unnecessary, we keep worrying it. In fact, when there is nothing to worry about, then you sit down and worry. Am I missing something? Am I forgetting something that I'm not worrying about it? To worry has become our secondary nature. In fact, I do counseling and then people come to our center. I was talking to her husband and wife, middle age. Initially, both of them together with me, and then shared some ideas. After that, wife told husband, "You please go out. I want to talk to Raghuram personally." And the husband fellow, poor fellow, he came or went out. And then the wife was telling me, "Raghuramji, my main worry is my husband doesn't worry." You see, husband doesn't worry becomes like you are worry. What an unfortunate thing it is. Worry is the way that we come away from our nature. Simply we keep worrying it. So worry is the way, and that's what is agitation at the mind level is the way that we come away from our nature. At the intellect level, we have confusions, we have so many angularities, fixations. This right, this wrong, this okay, this not okay. Somehow we have created so many pigeonholes. We created these boundaries. In the nature, there are no boundaries. But then we created all those boundaries and we get caught up in that. Whereas wisdom is to see that we come out of all these confusions, which is our nature. So our nature is to be wisdom, and then confusions and limitations of the way that we come away from our nature. Every culture, every nature has this kind of limitations at the intellect level. As a result of it, deep inside at the emotional level, emotional balance was our nature. Emotional imbalance is the way that we come away from our nature. As a result of it, we are away from our nature, called as the blissful state, happy state. We come away from that. We are continuously unhappy. Deep inside, at the bliss level, our nature was to be in harmony. Look at the whole nature. Everywhere there is so much of a harmony. The harmony is the essential feature of the creation itself. Look at the way day and night are in harmony. The roots in the soil, flowers in the foliage, and the sky in a plant is in such wonderful harmony. The roots do not know where the energy is going, whereas fruits do not know where the sap is coming from. But then look at the beautiful harmony. That harmony is the health of the plant. You cut that plant harmony, at once the plant will die. Similarly, you take an orange fruit, the bitter seed inside, and this wonderful sweet fruit, born together, grow to the fullness together. The seed will not disturb the fruit will not disturb the seed. They are living together, growing together in such wonderful harmony. That harmony is the health of that fruit. So in the nature, everywhere there is harmony. Not only in these things, even in the animals that you can see, a beautiful harmony. A simple harmony that you can think of in the case of animals is the harmony between hunger and eating. Animal which is there in the forest has enough to eat, but you don't find a obese animal. Eats as much as the hunger permits. I was watching one of the YouTube clippings where a tiger was resting in the grass after having full meal, nicely resting in the grass. Inches in front of the tiger, a deer did not notice the tiger is there, came grazing. And because the deer came so close to the tiger's sleep got disturbed. Raises his head and looks at the deer inches in front of the tiger. You know, the moment that tiger raises his head and looks at the deer also knows. So close to the tiger, he is like a meal for the tiger, ready meal from the hot air oven. So therefore, that you can see the shivering in the case of a deer. But then tiger's stomach was full, did not pounce on the deer or anything like that, just slept back. And the deer also continued to graze there. The commentator said very beautifully, he said, the tigers are not violent. They eat food when they are hungry. See, violence or not violence does not depend upon whether you eat meat or not, but it depends upon whether you are hungry and eating food, whether you are not hungry and eating food. When you are hungry and eating food, it's like harmony you created. Whereas disharmony is when you are not hungry, but you still eat. Look at the way that how much we have come away from our nature. There's absolutely no harmony between our hunger and eating, our exertion and sleep. There's no harmony at all. As a result of it, we are away from our nature, the bliss. So much we have, so far away from our nature, the bliss personality, that a simple sign of a bliss is to have a smile on the face. And you know what? Of all the species on this earth, human being is the only species who can smile. But then we are so far away from the smile today. The cameraman has to keep the camera ready and make a request to you, please smile. And the other day in a group, they were taking picture and then he said, smile, and then he was making adjustment. One of the participants saying that, how long should we smile? Click it fast. Bah. That means to say, our nature is blissful personality, but we are so far away from that. Even to smile becomes like a burden on us. We have come away from our nature. And we know that everybody is after happiness. Everything in this world is going towards that happiness, and which is supposed to be our own nature. It's like the way that Kasturi Mruga, which has got that beautiful fragrance in him, and then goes around all over the forest to search for that. We have the blissful personality within us. But how to get it back? So we are so far away. At every personality level, go back to your nature. At the body level, come away from the tension, relaxation, the way that you go back to your nature. And that's what is the very definition of asana Patanjali gives. Sthira Sukham asanam. Sukha, we know in Sanskrit means relax. And any practice which can take us constantly towards that relaxation is supposed to be asana. And he also says sthira sukham. That means to say there is something like sukha which is born out of external support, like you drink a drug or something like that which can give you happiness. But that's not the happiness that Patanjali means. Sthira sukham. That means to say you found the sukha from within. You are relaxed from within. So therefore, a conscious method of relaxation is what is called as the yogasanas and kriyas. Similarly, a conscious process of slowing down at the prana level is the pranayama. Speed is the way that we come away from our nature. Slowness is the way that we go back to our nature at the prana level. All the practice of pranayama is supposed to relax you, slow down. That's what is the definition of pranayama Patanjali gives us. Shwasa prachwasa gatir vicheda. Gati means speed, vicheda, cut down the speed. That's what is pranayama. Similarly, a conscious process of calming the mind is meditation, dhyana. Dhyana actually means basically where consciously you calm down the mind. Object is not important. Object is important only that it can provide you a support to see that you calm down your mind. Let all the agitations drop and then you become calm state inside. This is what is the idea of meditation. A conscious process of going back to your nature at the mind level is what is meditation. A conscious process of correcting your intellect with wisdom, with right understanding, right knowledge, because analysis is the way intellect functions, and that's what is Vijnanamaya Kosha. A right kind of analysis, right way which can take you towards that inner wisdom, that's what is Jnana Yoga, so that it can give you peace of mind. A conscious process of getting back to your emotional balance is what is Bhakti Yoga. So therefore, all these techniques of yoga, whether it is Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, Pranayama, Dhyana, all those things are consciously getting back to your own nature. Man is supposed to be active, and you do all the activities in the blissful state. That's what is the activity. That's what is called as Karma Yoga. So you enhance your blissful nature of yours, more and more become one that, and that's what is the whole journey of yoga. Yoga is a journey to go back to your own nature. That's why when you look at all these things, tension, speed, agitation, these are all the things which are going away from your nature. And whereas relaxation, slowness, calmness, wisdom is going back to your nature. Another very interesting feature is tension, speed, agitations are doing, whereas relaxation, slowness, calmness are not doing, it's being. Therefore, somebody gave a very beautiful poetic definition. Yoga is a conscious journey from doing to being. We have done enough of doing in the world outside. We are so caught up in the doing world outside. Get back to that being state. In fact, we are wrongly called as human beings. We should be called as the way that we are as human doings. When we do yoga, you become human being. And it is necessary for every one of us to go back to that nature of ours, relaxation, slowness, calmness. So all these techniques of yoga are the techniques which will bring you back to your own nature. Somebody therefore gave another very beautiful poetic definition. He said yoga is a conscious journey of homecoming. Your home is supposed to be a relaxation, slowness, calmness. And when all these things are achieved, then deep inside, you are in a harmonious state. That means to say, there's beautiful harmony between your body and the prana, a harmony between your prana and the mind and intellect. So therefore, that there's a beautiful harmony created within us. You go back to your nature because particularly we are at all these five different personality level. When all these things are in one unison, that's where the inner strength, and this can be achieved with the help of a conscious process. So therefore, when I say a conscious process, awareness is the key for all the practice of yoga. That's a basic difference between all other activities and the activity called as yoga. Other activities do not have mandatory idea of awareness, whereas in yoga, it is awareness is the mandatory. Like for example, you go to the gym to do the physical exercise and all that, awareness is not necessary. You are in the machine and the machine gives you exercise. You're watching the news or TV or whatever it is, or listening to music, and then doing the exercise fine. Because physically, that exercise will do whatever the benefit is supposed to give. But yoga is not that way. You have to consciously do it. The teacher will say, relax your calf muscle. Who has to do that? You have to do that. Take a left nostril breathing now and exhale through right nostril. You cannot do it. It is not the teacher who can do it, but it is that you have to do it for yourself. Therefore, all the practice of yoga are the practices where the awareness is the key. So ultimately, what we are practicing, whether we are doing the asana, pranayama, meditation, or anything like that, you are practicing and maintaining awareness. In the normal course of time, the scientists say our awareness is anywhere between 8 to 10%, not beyond that. Whenever we are doing any activity, you can watch yourself while driving on the road, that you can see that hardly that your mind is on the driving. You are listening to some music, you are listening to some phone call, some, something like that, and then the vehicle is going mechanically. There is no awareness. Whereas in yoga, when we do it, we are able to maintain about 60-70% of awareness. So that means to say we are trying to develop being in the state of awareness. That means awareness of yourself. It's not awareness of the world outside, but awareness of yourself. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. The ultimate goal of you is to maintain this awareness. That's why he says that Sthita Prajna is the way that you come back to your own nature. So therefore, the whole of idea of yoga is to see that how we can get back to our nature and with the help of awareness. But then mind is wandering, mind is going here and there, mind cannot keep quiet. You cannot go to that blissful state of consciousness within. It's not only our problem. This is the problem of Rama. There's a problem of Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, that now the method of practices, after all, for those who can just be quiet and be identified with the blissful state, anytime, just a suggestion. Shravanam a suggestion is good enough for him to go to that state. He doesn't have to do any practices. But people, common people, though we know that our nature is blissful state, peaceful state, but still we are away from that. There are techniques to see that how we can get back to that. And these are the essentially two different techniques, categories of the techniques that are there. Umpteen number of yoga techniques are there, but then all those techniques are divided into these two categories. One is called as Abhyasa, and the other is Vairagya. And that's what the Yoga Vasishta says. Dokramo chittanashaya, yogam jnanam cha raghava, yogaha tat vruttirodohi, jnanam samyaka vekshanam. Mind can be eliminated, mind can be dissolved by two ways. One is by the method of jnana, and the other is method of yoga. Yoga is disciplining the mind, and the other is non attachment, looking into our own nature. The same way, Patanjali also gives us that you can achieve this with the help of Abhyasa and Vairagya. That's why he says that Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam tad nirodha, tad chitta vritti nirodha. How? With the help of Abhyasa and Vairagya. Discipline and non attachment. These are the two techniques. Yoga Vasishta also gives the same thing. Bhagavad Gita also says the same way. Ho kaunteya, abhyasena to kaunteya, vairagyena to grishyate. Method of abhyasa and method of vairagya. How scientifically these people have, sages have analyzed these two things. Method of discipline, your mind is wandering, discipline yourself. Body is not in your control, senses do not come in your way, control that. This is what is abhyasa. The other is that your attachment to the objective world outside is the one which drives you away. Therefore, develop a non attachment. Wherever it is necessary, that involve, but wherever it is not necessary, don't get involved. Be free from that. So, therefore, that abhyasa is the method of discipline, vairagya is non attachment. These are the two ways that you can get back to your own nature. Therefore, looking at all those things, the summary of yoga is that yoga is inner peace, harmony, tranquility. Once we are very clear about this definition which our sages have given, we don't make a mistake. Yoga means doing all kinds of acrobatic postures, doing all kinds of weird kind of positions. That's what is yoga. Or holding the breath for an infinite period of time. These are all the things which are not the definition of yoga. It is going to inner peace, harmony, and going back to your nature called as blissful personality. That's what is yoga. Unfortunately, when people have taken yoga to be only at just physical asana level, posture level, many have this wrong conception. In fact, when I was giving a talk in one of the places where one of our participants has said that I do headstand pose 1 hour every day. Is it okay? Headstand pose, standing on the head. Is it okay? He's asking. I was wondering. One of the postures of yoga is headstand, but that's not natural way. So therefore, I couldn't say no to it because it's one of the postures. So therefore, I said, yeah, yoga means peace of mind, harmony. But I said that I didn't want to tell him that what he is doing, discourage him. I said, okay, continue to do 1 hour headstand because as long as that you are on your head, wife will have peace of mind. Somebody will do yoga, somebody will get yoga. That's wonderful. Let's not have all this kind of wrong notions. Abhyasa is yoga, which is a practice, discipline. Not only that, it's also orderliness. And Vairagya is jnana, non attachment, or let go. Abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena cha krishyate. Abhyasa is the method of techniques of yoga are for the people who are extrovert, whereas Vairagya is for the people who are introvert. Some people by nature is extrovert. For them, that these are the method of discipline, like whatever that Raja Yoga practice of asana, pranayama. These are all important for those who are extrovert. Vairagya, philosophers, thinkers, and these are the introvert people. And for them, method of Vairagya, the Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, these are the techniques. And in fact, the same thing, Abhyasa is yin and Vairagya is yang. And the nature, both these things are there. It's not just Abhyasa and Vairagya, they are not two separate compartments. They are together. They have to be there. In fact, when you look at the child growth, you can see that for a moment of time, the child keeps actually growing, but at one point of time, the child is stunted. That means not growing. That's why it is called as growth spurts. When the child is growing, it is what is equivalent to Abhyasa. And when the stunt, there is internal growth that's taking place, and that's what is Vairagya. So both these things are together in the nature, and that way when we go, both these practices are to be hand in hand. So we have to have practice of Raja Yoga and Karma Yoga, which are the practice of Abhyasa. Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are the practice of Vairagya. Basically, what happens is that in order to discipline, we have a beautiful body, mind, prana concept, complex that is there. I can do all these practice at various levels. So therefore, in Raja Yoga, specific disciplines are there. Like you do the sun salutation, you do particular postures, you try to do a particular pattern of breathing. All these things are supposed to be the practice and the method of abhyasa, whereas these practice of abhyasa can be 1 hour or 2 hours a day. Rest of the time, we are doing the regular activity of the day-to-day life. Can we bring about this yoga aspect in our day-to-day activity? That, like for example, I'm traveling in the train, I'm traveling in the bus, I'm driving the car, I'm doing the office work, I'm doing the business. Can I bring about this attitude of yoga in those things? That's what is karma yoga. Peace of mind, tranquility, harmony. With this idea that when I'm doing, whether it is business, whether it is the office work, that's what is basically bring about karma yoga. So, Raja Yoga and Karma Yoga are the two different limbs in the practice of Abhyasa. Whereas using the intellect, that's what is Jnana Yoga, or looking at our emotions, Bhavana, and that's what is Bhakti Yoga. These two techniques are supposed to be the techniques which are under the Vairagya. So, therefore, the purpose and goal of all these practices, they are not very different. They are the one and the same thing. That's what is going back to your own nature, and which is supposed to be health, harmony, and divinity that's there within us. That's why Swami Vivekananda, in a beautiful way, he said at the Parliament of World Religions, each soul is potentially divine. Like the way a seed is potential tree, but then you can't see the tree outside, it is there hidden inside. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is a potentially divine. It is like the way that we are the seeds, but inside that we have the divinity. The tree is the divinity that's there. When every other religion was saying that man is born out of sin and mistake and this and that, Vivekananda first time gave a ray of hope for them, saying that we are potentially divinity. But then that is not enough. We have to manifest that divinity within. And how you can do it? He said by work, worship, philosophy, psychic control. Work is karma yoga, worship is bhakti yoga, philosophy is jnana yoga, psychic control is raj yoga. By one or more, all these methods, try to follow one method or the other. But then all these things, but be free. That freedom, that inner peace and harmony, be free. That's what is the goal. All the other things are but secondary details. Books, dogmas, doctrines, methods that you practice, they are but secondary details. This whole philosophy of yoga, how beautifully Swami Vivekananda put in one sentence in the Parliament of World Religion, that will be our guidelines to see that how we can reach that divinity. This is the most important message that we can give our contribution as from India, Indian ancient wisdom to the future of the mankind forever to come, to see that we are searching for the bliss, we are searching for that health, we are searching for that harmony, which is a sustaining force on this earth. Let us try to get that with the help of yoga. With these ideas, I will stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.